Right. Okay, so let's give a couple of seconds for everyone to join. I see some people joining already. Very good. Fair deal. Okay, let's get started. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone that joined the webinar today. It's good to have you around. Today, we're gonna be recording this session, so don't worry if you didn't capture any sections of this webinar. If you have questions, we will have a QA panel on the chat there. You can actually post your questions on the chat anytime. We have some of our developers also present in this webinar, so they can definitely help to answer any questions that you have. We're also going to put a couple polls during the webinar, so will be awesome to count with your collaboration there. Joining me today, we're going to have Tony. Tony is an application advisor here at TagoIO. He recently joined the team, and he's going to be helping us to present the AI section of our webinar today. So I'd like to welcome Tony aboard.
Hello all. My name is Tony. This is my third month with Tago. I'm relatively new to Tago, but I know IoT pretty well, so excited to be here.
Cool. Glad to have you with us, Tony. Let's do it. All right. So, what's the agenda for today, right? So, I'm going to expend solid 45 minutes with you guys today. We're going to be talking about what is TagoIO, where you came from, why we are here, what is the ecosystem, the IoT ecosystem that TagoIO fits exactly. If you If you are new to IoT, like I mentioned, Tony's going to share a great resource on how Tago AI can close that gap and help you to build applications. And lastly, I'm going to be bringing a live demo. So we're going to be putting in through a real effort here today. We're going to be creating devices. We're going to be creating a dashboard, an action, a user, and a live portal. And let's put it together as a quick IoT application live in 10 minutes, right? So, and at the end or during the presentation, put in your questions. If you want to put your questions during the presentation, after the presentation, it's up to you. We want you to feel comfortable. So, quick nudge, feel free to put in your name, where you are located, and where you're watching this webinar from. Will be great to know. And as I see some familiar faces there with us today. So let's get started. So talking about the IoT ecosystem, where does TagoIO fit in this ecosystem, right? So I invite you to look at the left side of this diagram where we have our assets there. Those can be equipment, those could be machines, those could be people, those could be assets, shipments, packages. It could be environmental sensors. They could actually don't need to be tied to a particular machine, but collecting data from the environment itself. This is the first layer, right? Our device layer, our hardware layer, which will be collecting the physical inputs from that particular equipment, sensor, or environment and transmitting them over a network. And then you ask, with what devices or networks does TagoIO works with? And that's the great question, right? Tago is actually agnostic to the connector and the network type. You can create applications in private environments, in public environments. You can use connectors that you build at your home, an ESP, or you can use more advanced connector from known manufacturers, as we know today. And they go through different protocols. And I think it's important to mention that we're not tied to a specific protocol. We can work with LoRaWAN. with MQTT, with MyOT, and then you have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and BIoT, these other technologies, right? Recently, we have launched the TagoIO tip. If you're working with protocols such as UDP, TCP, MQTT, and HTTP, I invite you strongly to take a look at the TagoIO tip because that's a more ready to go solution for you to connect your sensors to. So now we went through these two layers, right? Now we're finally into TagoIO, right? And TagoIO, we're looking at here inside the ecosystem as the backbone of the solution, right? And I'm going to explain that into the next slide. Because moreover, we see some people here and there that still has that question. Is TagoIO only dashboards? Does it make alerts? Yes, but it's much more than that. And that's where the context brightens a bit, right? We're looking at TagoIO here in a context that I'm on the receiving end, so I'm collecting all the data on one side, but I'm also integrating with other services on my left side. So here I'm collecting the data, but I'm also connected to Twilio, and Twilio is sending me SMS alerts, email alerts, calling notifications. I'm connecting with my ERP software here because I need to send the result of a calculation I made, a closing report to my ERP. So I am connected. I am connected to my SAP. I need to create a work order in Jira or on GitHub based on a particular fault that I detected on my machine. Sure, these things are all possible, right? Um, and then that's TagoIO to centralize and be in the backbone for that, connected to Tago Run, which is the visualization for the end users, right? So when we're talking about, I'm integrating, I'm building, I'm developing, and creating dashboards. I'm integrating sensors, creating rules, workflows, building report generators, setting up hierarchies inside my application, connecting with my ERP or my CRM. That's all TagoIO. Now showing that to my customers, setting up a theme, a nice dashboard, putting up the colors, white labeling my application, adding custom domain, that's Tago Run, right? So it's where we're going to connect all these dots. We're going to put that in a nice visualization to our end users. And here to expand on the capabilities that we talked before, right? So when you say I need a dashboard for my application, that's can be a more elaborated question. When you look at TagoIO and you think of dashboards, they are just a small chunk right here of what TagoIO really can do. You can do incredible dashboards nowadays. You can create, we have over 40 different widgets that you can use. I'm going to show the snapshot for you. And then you can create these custom widgets that can elevate the level of your dashboard, right? Into creating something very, very custom. So when we look at TagoIO, we must look at the full stack environment. So it's the front end. Yes, it's the dashboards. It's the portal. I can give access to my distributor, to my customer, to the customer of my customer. Your choice, right? And on the back end, as I mentioned, we run the integrations. You have your analytics. Data comes through. I look at the data. I process it. I generate a new result based on it. I integrate with the weather channel so I can compare with my own weather station device that I have. I want to create an auto scaling feature for my customers, alerts based on thresholds. So all this backend, having a repository with your functions, with your analytics, your code and runs. So that's the backend that's going to turn your dashboard into an application, right? So application goes a long way. Dashboard is definitely the best way to start. You start with dashboard, share access to some users. We're going to do that. I'm going to really do that with you today. But we need to think about this engine, right? And the security. This is what we've been working on for over 10 years now, is having a solid database with queue, with lines, with orchestrators, having all this here perfected over all these years, right? Um, So let's take a deep dive into just what this is our admin. And when I say admin, where are we going to develop our application, right? It's our development environment. We do have a lot of nature features there to do a lot of stuff from the jump without doing zero coding, plus the AIs that we have today, right? Here, what I'm sharing with you right now is just a sneak preview into creating the theme that matches your application the most, right? So you can do a dark theme, you can do a light theme, more yellow, more blue. You can do a widget. You can customize basically 99% of your dashboard today, right? And to creating access for one person to another person, or creating a multi-tenant application, creating access for this company and then for that company, having these layers put together, running your analytics, sharing the KPIs with these users. We're in the business of doing that, right? I would like to invite Tony to expand a little bit more on the AI capabilities. And if you are new to TagoIO, as Tony is, these AI capabilities can help you accelerate the process in the beginning and accelerate the maintenance once you have something on the air already. So Tony, let me go here and enable this for you. There we
Thanks,
go.
Yago.
Should be running at any second now. Just let me go back here and I'll just try again. Yeah, while that loads, let me go ahead and do something here. So if you haven't followed Tago yet on LinkedIn, I invite you to follow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the link here. This way you are in tune of everything that we're working on in terms of new features, new events that we're hosting, or we may be in a country near to you. So feel free to join and follow Tago. There's the link. Hope to see you there. So Tony, I'm gonna
Perfect.
try one more here on the AI slide. Oh, there we go. We are on the
There we
air.
go.
All right.
Perfect. Glad to get that working. So I come from a background of using IoT, not totally familiar with Tago itself. So that's kind of where this widget in my assistant here comes kind of in use in particular. So right here, I'm more of wanting to get more of a compressor usage and be able to add that custom widget into it, which helps me kind of build in the background and kind of get that more of the set right away. Now, slowly, surely, we're starting to build that up. It's currently creating the blueprint in the background, trying to get that custom widget in together. Currently gathering and fetching data usage every there. That way it's creating the widget. It's thinking. Here we go as it starts to get my compressor usage right here. Now we're here. I've got my line pressure, process bump, and also my cold room temperature all listed down. And it's getting that. Now I can see that more of my PSI below that and how that's being able to measured in particular. Now I'm going to go over here to check out everything on my devices, click on my air compressor, and check the data this way. As you see, it's all kind of lined up there, value, everything lined up together. And there we go. That's
Boom.
how we start that compressor.
All right.
Now, say you want to take that a little bit of a step further on when when the presentation wants to work. There we go.
There you go.
Um, as we see here, it's got still has the dashboard setup, but I want to create more of a little bit more something with my custom widget, more of using my DTN network in particular. So I'll go ahead and use my assistant to go ahead and cover that. As it going ahead and edit that as it starts to think and go forward with that. See See where we got that here. There we go. Speccing current dashboard, going through here, finding the analysis I need, finding all, finding everything else in the results. Starts creating the device. So I want to have my Draco in there. Continuing to load the analysis code in the background. It's got confirmed it. Once you add the diagnosis, creates the analysis, updating the widget so it matches everything internally. Now it's starting to bundle up again. There we go. There we go. We got it back. And now I can add my LHD65 to it. Going ahead and we want to rename the device. If we want to, I would go over here to the device, the LH65. And there we have all the code and everything written down perfectly and set. Now, create my access, get everything, and all of everything into my device, and we're all set to go. I'll let
That's great.
Tiago go back and take it from here.
That's awesome. So basically, the AI in this case, it helped Tony to create the dashboard, the widget, the device, the analysis that actually going to integrate new devices to that dashboard, particularly linked with TTN. And for those familiar with LoRa, you remember that you need to get a service authorization, put it in your network, then you need to go to Toggle and create your device. Basically, we need two things in that whole process, right? One is the name of the sensor, and the other one is the serial number. And then obviously which network that we're going to connect it with, right? So the AI went there. It has our documentation as, let's say, context, not context, but scope of resources, right? To facilitate the development of uh, of these components, right? So it went there, created the access, it created the alerts, it created the analysis device, and the provisioning system with the whole dashboard set. And I think that was what, like the 10 minutes, Tony, worth of, with all the right prompts there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just about
now,
10 minutes.
yeah. So now it's time for the demo, right? So I want to spend some good quality time now here with you all. We're gonna go the traditional way. We're not gonna do AI for this one. So basically this is what I'm doing it, right? I'm gonna be creating a device, a user, a dashboard, an access rule for him, and set up the run to deploy, right? And we're gonna look at our end results. So let's look at first these modules that we have here, right? Devices. First one that we're going to create. I already have one created here. Let me just go through the process of creating a new one here for you to join me. Looking at the right side, you're going to find some options here first on top. My connectors, which are custom connectors that are not integrated with Tago yet that I want to connect with. Networks, same thing. Maybe networks that are not integrated with Tago yet, or a private network that I want to connect to. My share connectors, that means that I can also create connectors and share with um, other profiles across my accounts. And the service authorization, which is what's going to link my network. It's like let's say the token to my network, so to identify and my device, right? To authorize my device to be sending data to me, to Toggle, right? So on the bottom, we're going to have all the list of networks. We're going to have our HTTP route. Like I mentioned, Toggle is agnostic to the network, but we have been integrated already with this vast list of some of the key players on the market, right? So we're going to have our AWS IoT, Beacon, Celio, all the way to all the LoRa ones, KPN, Kineas for satellite, You can connect to a generic endpoint. You're like, Thiago, my sensor sends to my server sends to someone else, to everything everywhere else, right? That's okay. LoRaWANs, MQTT, like I mentioned today, we have on the bottom here, you see the tip with the HTTP, MQTT, TCP, UDP. Um, these are simple, fast, and secure ways for you to connect your sensors with. I can create sensors as a storage sensor. For now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an HTTPS sensor because I'm not going to be linking this to any hardware at this second. So we're going to be called my first device. When you create a device on Tago, you'll find that there's three types of devices. First one is the immutable one, and my choice for this particular demo that I'm doing, because I'm going to be doing a demo around air quality. So I'm going to be getting temperature and humidity variables. I don't need to be changing those. The same way that my sensor sends them or reads them, I'm going to be reading them. I don't need to change anything. I may be creating new variables later, but I still will not change them. And then the second option will be mutable. So here we're going to be looking at data that can be pushed to that particular sensor, but then I can modify it. And there's an important constraint here. On the immutable data, I'm going to be selecting my chunk of retention. I want to save data for 12 months. So I could do 12 months here, and my backups, my chunk backups, they will be monthly, right? Or I can just do, oh, I want to do the maximum 36 quarters. Or I think it, yeah, 36 quarters. That's 9 years, right? So that's the maximum. Or I can just do, nah, I just need data for 30 days. So the mutable is going to give me 30 chunks, 30 daily chunks of data, right? Immutable lets me do that. Mutable does not let me do that. Mutable is for high processing, for operations, for those sort of data that we receive that we need to be constantly modifying, evaluating, tweaking it, um, or just using that as a bypass to pre-process my data before it reaches either an hybrid, more proper, or an immutable device that makes more sense, right? And then comes to the hybrid. So hybrid is a very nice option to have. It's rather new, actually. I can set my chunks for 12 months, the same way, or even 24 months, right? Let's say. And I can have some preset variables that the platform will allow me to change. So it's perfect, right? I'm going to get my telemetry data there. And then I'm also going to be able to modify bits of which, for example, let's say we are getting real temperature, but then I create this new mutable variable inside my device, which is called average temperature. The average temperature is a result from a calculation that I did using the real temperature. So I'm going to be modifying that, right? I'm going to be creating new, I'm going to be modifying exist. I'm going to be looking back um, um, through inference, for example, right? As we see today with Tago sites, hybrid would be the most suitable for that particular case. So, all right, so we're talking a lot about the device types. So let me go to my immutable device here. I said I would do 12 months, but I'm actually going to do 3 months for our test. That's going to create my device. Let's see how that looks like, right? All right, so here I have my device to generate my token there. It's an immutable type. Any data that I send to this device, I can shoot it through here. And now you can see my chunks, right? So as I did 3 chunks, we'll probably just see like 1, 2, 3 of these here filled when it's all the way filled, right? And my emulator. So let's start with the emulator because here we can, looking at the data, things can make more sense, right? So you can do a lot of stuff in the emulator, by the way. You can choose some scenarios here. Oh, I want to test my payload parser with my decoder with a raw payload, or I want to see a thermostatus simulator or a refrigerator, right? So I'm going to be sending that payload. Can I see that payload before it gets to my bucket? Sure. Let me turn in the live inspector. We're gonna hit that once more. And now through the live inspector, if you open it here, you'll be able to see my payload there coming through, right? Um, Sometimes when you're testing, it's smart to turn on the inspector because if you have a rule wrong or something on your code is not matching on the payload parser, you may be getting an error here in the inspector that helps you to debug that. So if you're connecting a device, the device is sending data, but you're not seeing anything, I recommend you to come to the inspector because that can inline things, right? So what's this payload parser that I'm talking about? So think about, oh, Thiago, I work with the device. The device sends, um, let's select one option here that we commonly see that sometimes we need parser, right? So Laura, we can do easy parsers for Laura, right? So if I don't have a decoder for this particular device, I'm able to create a decoder inside my account for this device. And remember what I told in the beginning that I can create a connector for devices that are not integrated with Tago yet. This serves the same purpose, but inside the device, it's unique, right? It's only going to work for this particular device. Now, imagine if you have 1,000 devices and you had to go inside each of these payload parsers, it wouldn't work, right? So I could create one connector for my device that will serve the purpose throughout my application. So I can always use that device and that payload parser will always be the same. Parameters. I use parameters for a lot of different stuff. Mainly, I see customers using for reading and sending downlinks to the device. Like imagining here, we're talking about LoRa, right? LoRa, you have the capability of sending downlinks. When we're talking about Type C devices, for instance, we can shut evolve, turn on the particular equipment, and turn off things like that. Send a command with something very specific that will return us something on the platform, right? So those interactions they can be made, and we do them through parameters. And tags are one of my favorite things. And here we're going to start adding a tag that's going to call company ABC. That's going to be the first part of this exercise. Everything that we created here, we create here, we're going to use tags, and I'm going to show you why, right? All right. So we're talking a lot about the device itself. So next step now is for us to talk about creating a user, right? So I'm going to create a user here for myself. So that's going to be Thiago. Um, all right. So let me put my email there, Thiago@tago.io. And let me just put here a password. Thiago is from TagoIO. All right, other information, that should be good. All right, so I created a user, right? Now I'm gonna do the same thing with my user. I'm gonna do company ABC. All right, hit it save and done. All right, so two things are happening here. I created my device, I pushed some data. So it sent data. I put a tag on it. I add a user, I put a tag on my user, right? So now let me create a dashboard. So I already have one here created, but I'm gonna go through this process with you guys, right? This dashboard, it's a template, it already exists. If you go to your account here and you select temperature and humidity, that's the one that I'm using, okay? Normally for enterprise, not for enterprise, but for multi-tenant applications, the best one to go, it's the blueprint dashboard because that one's going to allow us to do multi-tenancy rules, right? Normal dashboards do not allow us to do such things, all right? If you want to learn more about how Blueprint works, by the way, and you want to get in deep of what I'm sharing right now, I recommend you to join the Academy. Freddie, which is with us today here in the chat, he is working really, he did a terrific job with these videos to help to guide customers through each one of these modules very precisely, right? All right, so next step, what we're talking about creating the dashboard. So I created a dashboard. Um, just gonna, for the sake of it, I'm gonna use this one, right? And now, next step for creating the dashboard. we're going to be creating the access rule. So all the tags that I created before, so we're going to be using that now. So here, let's say that every run user with the tag, oops, company ABC are going to be able to see dashboard. I could have put a tag on the dashboard if I wanted, but now I just gonna say it's this dashboard. I could say it. I could do a tag match too. I'm gonna explain how that works in a second. Then I'm gonna do dashboard access. Sorry, device access. And as I use a tag on the device, and devices, are much better to track through tags because you got a lot of them. I'm just gonna use the tag right here. All right, so very simple rule. We're just gonna do customer access, all right? And I'm gonna create my policy. All right, so my policy are done with the device, user, dashboard, access. Now let's play a little bit more. Let's create an action because actions are the native way to getting notifications out fast. So I'm gonna select my device here. I did create my first device, so I'm gonna be using the air quality sensor that I already have on the application. That one has a bit more data on. And I'm just gonna say, let's pick if the average temperature is greater than 35, it's gonna be sending me, and then I'm gonna select the trigger for it. I'm sorry, I just selected the trigger. I'm gonna select an action for it, which is gonna be send a push notification to myself. It's gonna say alert, high temperature. All right, so that's done. High temperature. We're gonna do temperature alert on the name. Perfect. So that's done. So we have created the action. The missing link is the run. As I mentioned, we build everything on the admin, we execute it through the run, right? So I created the dashboard, I created the user. So now I could have customized other things, right? And I'm gonna go through here in 1 minute because I think that's important. Main configurations, we're going to configure the page where your customer is going to access your application. So this page has got to be really well done, right? You can put a background on the back. You can create your sign up page in the way you need it, right? Put your logo, your favicon. Your application can have dictionary. You can enable SAML, OIDC, sign on, and some other things, right? So I invite you all to taking a look at the run because that's going to be the application link that you want to see to be sharing to your customers or stakeholders or yourselves, right? Whoever's going to be accessing the application for configuring the white label and custom domain that I mentioned before. Also the themes of the application, so buttons, text, titles, form background. You see that there's a lot here that is customizable. And here we are only on the sign up page. There's sidebar configuration, pages, buttons, general colors of actions around the app. You can see that it goes very far, far away. 2FA, I think that's important too, right? Strength of the password, enable CAPTCHA for people that are accessing your application, session duration, all important security feeds here for us to follow, right? Custom settings, so especially for those who have applications in multiple countries, right? Today we have TagoIO in more than 135 countries, and one of the things that this feature helps is that I can create water readings in cubic meters or in feet, right? And use different units and measurements, get Fahrenheit and Celsius simultaneously, and the preference of my user will determine what's going to be shown on the dashboard. Right? Same thing with the dictionary. So if your user sets Portuguese, your application is going to be Portuguese. If your user sets English, it's going to be in English. And this is the part that we need for this dashboard. First, so let's do here. One thing that I would need well, I don't need, but I like to do it because it's really nice. I like always to come here and just say, create a button for it because buttons, they look nice out there. And I'm gonna hit save. Now, oh, I'm sorry, that's actually the logo button. So I'm not going to use that button. I'm going to use the sidebar button because this is the one that I could say main dashboard, for instance. And then I'm going to say this is going to open my air monitoring dashboard. And pay attention to this. This is very nice. I could have 30 dashboards here in my sidebar, but I can also, other than the access rule that I created, is this. So who's going to be able to see this dashboard that I'm creating right here? Only company ABC, right? I could have one for company A, two for company B, five other dashboards for company C. But for company ABC here, let's do the one, right? Okay, so I think I did everything for us to see this application running live. Let's see how it looks like. So I'm going to share this tab instead. All right, it works. First shot, not bad without AI, right? Take that. So let's look at what we have here. So we have our run, right? Of course, you can make it much better than this, right? But I have here my device. I have here my data is coming through. My preferences they are saved here, and my dashboard is configured. My view is configured, is ready to go. If I would tell my user to log in from wherever he is in the world, this would be live. And we did this together here, guys, in 10, 15 minutes, right? Um, few places you can beat that with the stick. So let me just bounce back now from my screen. I'm gonna open my Q&A for any questions that you guys have, anything that you find interesting that you want to talk a little bit more. We have Tony here and I and myself to be working with you, discovering what's the next steps for your application and how you can help you with that, right? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, while you guys put the questions there, I'm just gonna go ahead and log in into my application and just a second, you should be able to see my screen in just a little bit. So let me go here. All right. Found ya. All right. So this, what I'm sharing right now, guys, this is a complete demo that I have, right? There's a lot of different dashboards here. I'd say that out to market application will only have a few, especially around the structure, right? Admin, sensor management, groups. Um, like I mentioned before, other than the 40 different custom widgets that we have, you can also build custom widgets, right? And our AI can help a lot with that. You see that the themes here are changed. So now here, let's go through four different themes real quick. So we have smart agriculture showing one way, beautiful. Poultry farms, we have another theme going on. It's another purpose, right? Another different dashboard that we need. Industrial monitoring. So these different layouts, you can build and customize 100%, right? We got remote compressors across different sites. Um, and there we go, some energy monitoring. So you control this, how you want it to look like across your app. Depends on your branding, depends on what your customer is looking for. The message is the tools are out there, the resources are out there, right? Um, and of course, the more effort, the more care you put to it, the nicer it will look like, right? Yeah, so let me look if we have any question there. All right, got your joke there, Marlon. Yeah, I actually like that poultry one very, very. I mean, I didn't have one of those. I always wanted to have one of those poultry dashboards there. Yeah. Okay. Well, just to finalize here, guys, one thing that I also wanted to share is we had a new update on our AI. I invite you to take a peek at that. If you go here to your settings right there on the bottom, you'll see that we have AI wallet now. So the improvements that Tony showed before, those can actually be super customizable, right? Here you can have, for example, let me go to budget. So you can actually use your own AI, right? If you don't want to pay anything for it, there's going to be some prompts there that you can do. I think around 150 prompts, something like that. But if you want to use your own AI, you can put your API key there, and that's fine. You're going to be using your own AI. Then it's your cost separately, right? But if you say, no, Chago, I want to use the TagoIO AI because it looks at all the resources on Tago and this and that, it's already prepared for it, that's fine. You can use the AI. You have this wallet here. You see all this on the bottom? Those are my profiles. Those could be different applications. Now let me show you something um, that's super crazy about that. So let me go back to my profiles and services. And now if I go to my AI provider there, see? So now you have your default, but Thiago, I want to use OpenAI or Anthropic, right? So it's just a matter of putting your AI keys there and you should be good to go. The models, there's going to be three, right? There is two today. We have chat. For chat, we recommend go powerful, right? Because chat's going to be looking in your account. He's going to be looking at your data. He's going to be looking at the documentation. You want to have powerful stuff here. For the dashboard, same thing, right? Generates every AI dashboard. So very important too. Um, Default is free, default is free, default is free, right? But again, you can use these different models if you need to, and you can configure them really well on the bottom to select what reasoning efforts would you like to use. The one on Tago Run, and this is widely asked, Thiago, I can use AI to build on Tago. Yes, but what about my customers? Can they use AI? Soon. We already released the support for it. As you can see it here, we have Tago Run on the AI on Tago Run here. You have the same models there. Should be in any minute now, guys, really. And this is going to allow your end users, your customers to use your AI to be asking questions towards their data, towards any records or analytical questions, such as we did on previous webinars, right? When we talked about the AI. So this can be an extremely nice tool on the belt and an additional layer to carry AI out. One recommendation that I would say is use the limits that we put here, right? Because it's one thing that imagine, oh, shall we I have 10 customers. That's okay. 10 customers here and there asking a question or two is not gonna make much damage. But what if you have 100, 200, 500 customers, right? And then they're all asking questions all day long. So that's a different scenario. You can set thresholds, you can put these limits, this as I just shared on the AI wallet, right? And you can have a safe control there, right? And just a quick reminder for our lovely customers in the EU, this AI is disabled by default for you guys, okay? So if you want to use it, make sure to go there, toggle the AI on under your services, and you're gonna have access to it, okay? All right, so I don't see any other questions at this time. For the moment, I would like to thank everyone once again for joining. It's very special to have you guys with me. Marlon, great to catch up. We need to talk one of these days to catch up a little bit more. Philip, great to have you with us. Philip from Wales, Eric from Guatemala, Michael from Virginia. Lovely to have all you guys. Philip, also from London here with us. Yeah, great to have you with us, and I'll hope to see you all on the next webinar. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.